dicapai. Okay, and the second one is the writing task 2. We call it task. Okay, there's task 1 and there's task 2. In task 2, you're going to spend at about 40 minutes. And you will have to write at 250 words. Okay, so if we compare it, it makes sense that you will have more time in writing task 2. The difference for writing task 2 is that you're not going to be given picture or charts or table, but you will be given questions. And these questions will ask you to tell about your opinion. Your opinions, I'm going to say opinions, because it will not be only one opinion about something or arguments, or you can say it your point of view about certain issue. Okay, for example, for the first one, the example is charts, including pie charts, line graphs, and there will also be tables or diagram or even maps. And as for the second task of writing, you will have to write about whether you agree or disagree about some topics. For example, whether you agree or disagree if the government make vaccine mandatory for Indonesian people. And in the writing, you will write your points and then your examples and elaboration. And at the end of your writing, you have to write your conclusion. Okay, so this is the basic of the Ielts writing here. Okay, so there are going to be 2 tasks. Task 1, you'll have 20 minutes, 150 words minimum, and it will be about data interpretation. Second task, you have to spend about 40 minutes for 250 words minimum, and you will have to write about your opinions, your arguments, or your points of view about the issue from the question that will be given. Also, how can we divide these timings? I think they only give you 60 minutes, so it's up to you, and you can manage your own time, whether you want to spend 20 minutes for task 1 or less than that, it's okay. Whether you want to spend only 30 minutes for task 2, it's also fine, as long as you can finish your work on time for both of the writings. Okay, so 20 minutes and 40 minutes are the time that is suggested for you to spend for each writings. Right, so that's for the basic. And now I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk first about the writing task 1. Oh, sorry, my screen is not. Okay, so since we have 2 writing tasks and they have a lot of different categories within itself, so we're gonna take it slowly. We're gonna see first about writing task 1 and the sample answers for this one. Okay, the first example is the type of graph, which is line graph. Okay, so you can see here, this is the pictures and this is the direction and the information. Okay, so when you see this question, you first have to look at the directions. It says that you should spend about 20 minutes on this task, like I told you earlier. And then they say, the line graph below provide information about the incomes of 4 restaurants in a city in 2010. Okay, so this is the main information about the graph. Right here, you can see information about incomes of 4 restaurants. Incomes is what for the question, and where it is 4 restaurant in a city. Citynya it's not specified. Okay, and in 2010. This is the when part of the graph. So you have to paraphrase this for paragraph 1 later. Nanti kita tunjukin. For your writing, for task 1, the basic formula, you are going to write at least 3 to 4 paragraphs. Okay, like for paragraph 1, you're gonna have to write an introduction, and it's going to be the title, but you paraphrase it. You should know what paraphrase means. Okay, paraphrase means that you have to talk about the same thing, but with different words. Like for example here, incomes. What is the synonym of income? And then 4 restaurants in a city. Is there another words for it? Eating place. You can say that. In 2010, you cannot change for the year. Okay, so make sure that you paraphrase this information from here to here for paragraph 1. So you introduce the graph again with your own words. And then next, in paragraph 2, you start to talk about the general information from the picture that you're seeing here. What is the basic thing that you can see in this picture? Like for example, we can say that what is the highest income? The red one, the red line, that is from red restaurants, because there are 4 of them. And then when it happened? In December. Okay, so that's the highest income. And then look at the lowest. Which one is it? Okay, so the point is you have to check the general information that you can see at a glance. At a glance. Sekilas ngelihat informasinya yang mana yang bisa ditulis. And then on paragraph 3, you get more specific. Okay, like for example, you want to say compared from all of them. Okay, so these are the information of the name of the restaurants: Delicacy, Evening Paradise, Grand Fiesta, Spicy Fortune. So you have to know all of this information, and you can introduce this in general in paragraph 1, and paragraph 3 you get more specific. Like for example, you say compared to everything, at the end, in the end, Spicy Fortune, the purple restaurant, has the least income at the end of the year compared to Grand Fiesta, Evening Paradise, and Delicacy. Okay, it's up to you how you want to report the information, how you will write it, which one you're going to write first, but make sure that the information is going from general to specific. Okay, so from general information to specific information. You don't have to write all informations. You shouldn't do that because it will be a lot more than 150 words. Okay. And also, you should not say in conclusion. You should not write that for this task 1. Okay, so there should be no conclusion. So let's look at it, how to answer this in simple way. You only have to interpret all of this data into paragraphs, at least 3 paragraphs, okay? And systematically, it is from introduction, general information to specific information, and it has to be at least or minimum 150 words. There is no maximum words for this, but it is suggested that you should at least write 150 to 180 words. Okay. Why 180 words? Because the more words you write, the more mistakes can happen, can be detected from your writings. Okay. Semakin banyak kata-kata yang ditulis, semakin besar kemungkinan melakukan kesalahan. So that's why you shouldn't write so many things. You should pick only important information. Okay? So how to do this? First, read the direction, read what the picture is about, what time, and the time is important to determine the kind of tenses that you are going to use. If they have the year, let's say it's 2010, and right now it's 2021, so it means that it's in the past. So the tense that you're going to use here is past tense for the whole writing. Okay, so that's about line graph. This is the graph, and you have to also understand all of the information here. And then this format is for all writing task 1. So here's the example. Okay, in here they make 4 paragraphs. It's okay because first paragraph is only 1 line. Actually, you can combine it into one here. Okay, like I said here, 3 to 4 paragraphs. Okay, let's say in paragraph 1, they say that the line graph provides or it shows information about the amount of money. Earlier, we call it incomes, right? So they paraphrase it, change the vocabularies. The amount of money which was earned monthly by 4 restaurants in a city in 2010. Same information, but different words. That's paraphrasing. And then let's look at paragraph 2. Overall, what stands out from the graph is that there were considerable upward trend in the income of Delicacy, Evening Paradise, and Grand Fiesta. So they are reporting the highest, which one has the, what kind of trend happen to 3 of them. The green, the red, and the blue one, it has the increasing trend. And however, Spicy Fortune witnessed a considerable fall over the year, which means that the purple one has the decreasing income. Okay, so it's reporting that as a general one. Looking at the details, in January 2010, Spicy Fortune was the biggest earner with monthly income of blah, blah, blah. In the following months, its earning first fluctuated and then declined. So they are reporting the, the most significant one. So which one is it? Spicy Fortune. Okay, they're talking about this one, the most different one, because at first it has the highest income compared to the other. And then in contrast, the month income of other 3 restaurants. Okay, so in this writing, the person who writes this, they write the details by separating between this 1 to the 3. So this has 1 paragraph and this 3 has 1 paragraph. Okay, so in the end, you can see, you can tell that they are not making conclusion, because it is not allowed in Ielts test to make a conclusion for writing task 1. Okay, so this is the structure. Next, bar charts. The format of the paragraph will be similar. I'm just showing you the example here. Okay, so this is the question. You should spend about 20 minutes, yes. The bar charts below provide information about honey production and honey producing colonies. Honey production itu beda ya dengan honey producing colonies. Honey producing colonies are the bees, and honey production is the honey. Okay, so it is the what in this question, and then the where is 5 in 5 American states, and the year when is in 2006. So you will use past tense for this one also. And the direction is summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Pay attention to selecting and reporting the main feature. Pilih dan laporkan fitur utama. So you only have to select which one is important to report. You don't have to write everything. And the next one, make comparison where relevant. Only compare when it is relevant. Okay, so here you will have to compare between the two of them. That's first. And then the details within them. Of course, you have to know what this represents, and etc. Like for example, this represent North Dakota honey production, and 25 here, what it means, it's in pounds or in, sorry, per pound, it's in dollars. And same like the next picture. Okay, you can tell that North Dakota is the highest and Wisconsin is the lowest. Okay, this is the example of the paragraphs. I put them in bullet points so you can tell that it's paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, like I told you before, in introduction, the bar graph represents the amount of honey produced and the number of bee colonies in 5 states, namely, okay, so in this question, they're not listing the names, but in here, they're listing it. North Dakota, South Dakota, etc. in 2006. Okay, look at the paragraph 1, the general. Look at the first bar graph. The combined honey production of all given states were approximately 62 million pounds. So they are giving the entire data. Okay, from general to specific. And then the second one, focusing on the distribution of honeybee colonies. So first, they're talking about honey production. And then the second, they talk about distribution of honeybee colonies. And for the last one, they say overall, it is clearly evident that out of the 5 states, North Dakota was the biggest honey producer, etc. They are using, pay attention to this one, they are using the word overall. So it is similar to conclusion, but they don't say the word in conclusion. Okay, so if you want to conclude the data, you have to use the word overall. Okay, and here in the final paragraph, you don't use your own opinion. Never use your own opinion, because this is writing task 1. Okay, only report what you see. What you see is what you write. Save your opinion for writing task 2. Okay, so never use your opinion and never make conclusion by using the word in conclusion. To conclude, don't do that. Okay, next is pie charts. Here, same format like before. The time direction, the content or the title of the paragraph, and then the direction. This is the type of picture. Pie charts usually they are comparing two pie charts. You have to determine which color represents what, and it's usually in percentage. Okay. So here they are using only 3 paragraphs, but still the same like before. They tell you the title of the paragraph with the first sentence, and then the contents, and then overall as a conclusion. Okay, so it never use the word in conclusion and to conclude. Next, the type of question where they use table. So here's the table in percentage. And then this is the direction and questions, time, direction, and then the title. The result of survey that asked 6,800 Scottish adults where they had taken part in different cultural activities in the past 12 months. When they say in the past 12 months, it means that the year that you are taking the test. So it's still past tense. Okay, like let's say this is from 2021. The last 12 months from 2021 is, let's say, December or November 2019 or August 2019. Okay, then this is the directions, same thing. They write in 4 paragraphs here. Here I make the, make sure that you use academic vocabularies in your writing. So how to be able to write in academic vocabularies, you have to read many English journals or English news. Try to read so many things in English so that it can enrich your vocabularies. Okay. Here they are reporting in 4 paragraphs and there is no word conclusions, right? So they're only reporting the data. They are writing 196 words here. It is more than what we suggested, but this is the risk that they are taken. Resiko yang diambil. Okay. If you want to write more than 190 words, make sure that you write good vocabularies and there is no typo. Typo, or you miss a word, you miss a letter in a word, it counts as a mistake. Jadi dia salah. Next, map picture. There are 2 types of map questions, but this is the most popular. This one is rare to be shown. The most common type of map question is where you have to compare between 2 maps. Usually you compare the present and future map or past and present maps. Okay, so this is the types. Present and future. This one is past. Both are from the past. And the third one, 2012 and present, means past and present. 2012 and future, past and future. So what I mean here is the time of the map, and then here is the tenses that you're gonna use. I mean, it's just logic, basically. Okay. The example, let's say here, this is a map about, what is this? The 2 maps show an island before and after the construction of some tourist facilities. Okay, so this is before the construction and this is after. Since you don't know the year, you treat this like as a past tense, and this you can use this one as a present tense. Actually, you can act like this is in present tense. But make sure that you are consistent with your choice, okay? When you talk about past for this picture, always talk with past tense for this one. And if you use present tense for this picture, always use present tense for datas here. So in your writing, you have to compare, like for example, I'm sorry, we cannot zoom further, but this one, this is a restaurant. So you can say that before they don't have any restaurant, but after the construction, before they didn't have restaurant, and after the construction, they built restaurant in the north side of the island. Gitu. Okay, same format like as usual. This is introducing the titles by paraphrasing. And this one, they're talking about the first map first before the construction. They detail it. And then the third paragraph, they talk about the second map and tell what's different compared to the first one. And then in the fourth paragraph, they say what is basically has been transformed. But if you don't write paragraph 4, it is still okay, because this is quite like conclusion. Okay, so it's okay if you just write the introduction and then first map and then second map. Next is the process kind of question. You use present tense in here. So the point of this question is you will be given a picture about a process of manufacture of something, or a process of how something works. It depends. It's not always the same. In this picture, for example, it is about the brick manufacturing process, starting from the digging of the raw materials until the brick can be delivered to be used by people. As usual, you see here, they show you the time direction, and then they tell you what this is about. It illustrates the process that is used to manufacture bricks for the building industry. And then the direction, summarize the information, etc., and write at least 150 words. Okay, so you need to pay attention to what materials they're using here, what it's called. They already give you the information. This one is called the digger or the excavator, and this one is called a roller, and then what it does. And then there's process here where they input sand and water, and then the bricks are being cut by using wire cutter and being molded with mold here. And then afterward, it got into the drying oven for 24 to 48 hours. Afterwards, they are being put into kiln or cooling chamber. Kiln first in moderate temperature, and then in high temperature, and then the last one they're going to be put into cooling chamber for 48 to 72 hours, and then afterward it got into packaging and it can be delivered by truck. Okay, so that's basically what you need to write. So you have to write all of the process from the beginning to the end. In here, as usual, in the first paragraph they explain they introduce the title by using their own language, and then the second, third, and fourth paragraph they talk about the process, all of them. Okay, pay attention to the words here: dug, placed, aided, turned. It is not past tense, but it is passive forms of sentence, kalimat pasif. Okay, for example here, this clay is then placed onto metal grid. Tanah liatnya diletakkan di metal grid. Okay, it is a passive sentence, not past tense. Okay, so that's the end for writing task 1. So far, anyone have a question? No questions yet? Let's move on to writing task 2. Right, so in writing task 1, you just report what the picture have. You just report what is in the picture. You don't give your own opinion, and you don't do conclusion. After you finish writing task 1, you are doing writing task 2, and here is where you have to give your opinion and your thought process. Opinions, ideas, and your thought about it. Okay, so basically, these are 5 most common Ielts writing task 2 questions. The first one is question about opinion, whether you are agree or disagree. The second one, you're going to talk about advantages and disadvantages of something. Let's say, what is the advantages and disadvantages of having vaccine? Yes. And then the third type of question about problem and solution. They will give you a problem, and then they will ask you what kind of solution. They will ask you what problem can be caused by some.
Bisa aku makan. Nasi.
Okay. The third question is about problem and solution. They will give you a statement, and then they will ask you what kind of problem can be happen from that statement, and then what solution can you give. That is problem and solution question. The fourth type of question is about discussion. You will discuss views. There are 2 different views about some issue. And then the last one is 2-part questions. Okay. Let's go for example here. Right. This detail, you can open it yourself when I give you the file. I'm only going to tell you the basic of this. Okay, this is the example of question for agree or disagree question. In today's job market, it is far more important to have practical skills than theoretical knowledge. In the future, job application may not need any formal qualification. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So you have to decide whether you agree or disagree that in the future, job application may not need any formal qualification, meaning that your bachelor degree will not be useful. Okay, and you have to know what each phrases means. Like say, what is practical skill? What is theoretical knowledge? This is the example of answer for that question. Okay, in the first paragraph, so it has similar format with writing task 1. The difference is that you must have conclusion paragraph. It must exist in writing task 2. Paragraph 1 is introduction. Same with writing task 1. You write the introduction by doing paraphrasing for the question. Yang mana yang harus diparaphrase? All of this. You have to paraphrase all of this. And you have to state whether you agree or disagree in this paragraph? Okay. This writer here, they said that, in my opinion, skill and theoretical knowledge both are equally essential, which will be discussed in this essay. It means that I think they disagree with the statement, isn't it? Yeah. But basically, in paragraph 2, they give their first reason. The next one is their second reason. Okay. And here they write, let's say, we're going to talk about this one first. Paragraph 2 and paragraph 3 in the format. Format for paragraph 2 and 3. Okay. In paragraph 2, you have to give your first reason, and paragraph 3, you have to give your second reason. First sentence, it is your statement or reason. Itu. Alasannya apa? And then second to third sentence, maybe more or less, they can elaborate. Menjelaskan ini tadi. Okay. Next sentence. For sentence, you give example. Example can be something that you can see daily. It can be something that you experience. It can be something that you can logically predict to happen. Okay? You shouldn't write like thesis in this writing. So you don't have to write the source of information, like for example, I got it from Google in, let's say in August 20th, 2021. You don't have to say that in this writing. You just have to give the example, okay, which relates to why why you agree with this one. Okay, so same format for paragraph 2 and 3. Remember, first sentence, always your statement, and the second and third, you elaborate, and then next you have to write your example to strengthen your statement, untuk memperkuat statement kalian tadi. Okay, and then in the fourth paragraph, you conclude from this one, and then you say again your stance, whether you agree or disagree. Okay, so writing task 2 also has a format of 3 to 4 paragraphs, but usually it's not 3 paragraphs, it's 4 paragraphs. Right, so this one is about opinion, agree and disagree. Next, example of question for advantages and disadvantages. This is the direction, and the one here in bold and italic, you have to paraphrase this one for paragraph 1. Okay, food travels thousands of miles from farmers to consumers. Some people think that it would be better for our environment and economy if people consume locally produced food. To what extent do the advantages of this would outweigh the disadvantages? Maksudnya apa? What it means? It means that you have to decide whether there are more advantages or there are more disadvantages. And then here you have to give your reason why you think there are more advantages or more disadvantages, and you have to give example from your own knowledge or experience. Let's see the example here. They do the introduction, paraphrase, and then this is their This further makes a country of origin to focus on producing the best with the available resources in given climatic condition. And this is their first reason, their second reason, and then conclusion. Also, this can be 5 paragraph actually. Let's see. Here's the conclusion. So in my opinion, we must try to consume the food which are easily available locally, but for enjoying the variety of food throughout the year, we have to buy food from other regions as well. This example is not very, perfect because we want them to answer this question, right? Is there more advantages or there are more disadvantages? But basically, they already tried to reach the point. So maybe this can get a score at about 7 in IELTS writing or 6.5. Okay, so the same format like before. Next, question about problem and solution. So this is the question. The internet has transformed the way information is shared and consumed. Okay, internet and information being shared, the way, and being consumed. But internet also created problems that did not exist before. The question is, what are the most serious problems associated with the internet and what solution can you suggest? So what you have to do is determine problems, at least 2, because we're going to make 2 content paragraphs, right? And you have to determine solutions for these 2 problems. This is the example. This is the introduction. And then one of the first problem of the internet is, okay, so this is the first problem. Okay. And the second one, another major problem is, okay, so the format of the paragraph, they put all of the problems into one paragraph. And the next paragraph is all solutions. And the last one is to conclude. Okay, so you have to write in this systematic format so that it will be easier for the examiner to grade you and you will get higher score. Higher IELTS score meaning that you have systematic format or clean format for your paragraphs. This one is intro. Okay. Okay. The last one is question about discussing both view. Oh, sorry. This is the last 2. Discussing both view. So there are views. Some people believe that it is better to live and work in vertical cities, meaning that vertical cities mean that you live in an apartments, high buildings. Others, however, think that horizontal cities are better for living and working, meaning that, no high-rise buildings. So you have to discuss between these 2 statements, both view, and then give your own opinion. Let's see the example. Okay, so the format that they're using here, paragraph 1, they're using introduction, of course, as usual. And paragraph 2, they talk about first city, the vertical one, along with the explanation and the examples. And the next one, they talk about the second city, horizontal, and they give examples and explanations there. And then for the last paragraph, as a summary is their opinion about those two. Okay, so basically it will be easier for you to write if you know what format to use. You can practice easier. The last type of question is the two-part questions. Two-part questions meaning that you will be given one statement and they will give you two questions. For example, the United Nations recently celebrated its 70th anniversary. First question, what benefits has it brought during this time? The benefit brought by the United Nations. And the next question, do you think the UN will last another 70 years? Okay. The answer format is, of course, it will be easier. The first is always the introduction. The second paragraph is about the first question, benefits. Okay. Benefit or benefits. The third paragraph is about whether it will be possible for another 70 years. 70 years in the future. And the last paragraph is conclusion. Easy format, right? There we go. Okay, so this is Ielts writing. Also, lastly, I would like to give you, I would like to show you how they score the Ielts writing. So there's something that's called descriptors. Sorry, why is it? Okay, upside down. So we have 4 points to pay attention to. Okay, first of all, you have to be fluent. I'm sorry, is it? Oh, this one is for speaking. Right. Writing. Oh. Okay, that's actually from the same page. Wait a second. This one is for speaking. This one is for writing. Okay. Writing band descriptors. Poin penilaian writing Ielts. Okay. First is task response. In this point, they will examine whether you answer the question correctly. That's why you have to write with the format properly. Harus sesuai format. Like how I told you earlier in writing task 1, what you can do, what you cannot do. In writing task 2, what you should do. Okay? So to be able to get the score 7 means that you have to address all part of the task, meaning that you answer all of the questions and present a clear position throughout the response. So in writing task 2, whether you agree or disagree, you have to state it, you have to say it, and then present and extend supports main ideas. It means that you have to elaborate your ideas and give your examples. Even so, it's still possible for you to make mistakes, small mistakes, to be able to get 7 in writing. Okay? And the next thing that you have to pay attention to is the coherence and cohesions. What does it mean? It means that how easy to be understood your sentences are. And then how connected your first sentence and your next sentence, and how connected each paragraphs are. Okay, so you have to have your information arranged. harus tertata, and then it also has to be logical. Idenya harus logis. Do not go back and forth. Make your writing linear and simple to understand. Okay, don't make it very complicated. The next thing that you need to pay attention to is lexical resource. Lexical resource meaning that the type of vocabularies you are using. Is it correct? Is it, adequate? Because sometimes my Ielts students, they try hard to sound like they have difficult vocabulary, but apparently they are using the wrong word. So it's not appropriate. Kata-katanya tidak sesuai dengan tema yang dia tulis. Okay, so make sure that, of course, you have to use academic English, not casual English. Okay, so you have to use formal English, but also make sure that your words is proper, sesuai. And the last one is grammatical range and accuracy. It means here that the grammar will also be the main part that will be examined in your writing. So they will pay attention to your grammar, whether you use proper tenses, whether you use proper format of subject and verbs to use, and then the plural, singular, something related to your grammar, and whether it is accurate. Okay, so here are the things. There are only 4 of them that you have to pay attention to. All right, let me go back to my screen, whiteboard. Okay, so there are 4 things that you need to pay attention to in writing. The first one is task, achievement. The second one is coherence and cohesion. The third one is lexical resources. And the last one is grammatical use or range and accuracy. So this one is about proper answers to your questions. This one is about how you structure your sentences. Whether it is easy to understand. The third one, lexical resources, is about vocabularies and all about it. And then the last one is about your grammar. Okay. Also, in giving the score, in giving the total score, for example, let's say in writing task 1, you got 6.5, and then writing task 2, you got 7. So they have different portion because they have different amounts of words to write, right? So this one has 40%, this one has 60%, and then both of them you give an average, dirata-ratakan, and then you will get the writing band score. There. Okay. Right. Let me write it as scoring. Okay, and then this one is descriptors. Right. So those are all the informations that you need to know in order to be able to make a good writing for IELTS. So that's just the basic. The next thing that you need to do is practice yourself. Okay, so in order to get a high score in IELTS writing, you have to practice writing so many times. And then maybe you give to your teacher to grade and then to evaluate. You can also give it to your friend and ask them whether your writing is already correct or not. Okay, so the more you practice, the more you are used to IELTS writing. So by making it a habit, then it will not be difficult for you when you are actually doing the exam. Right. So I guess that is it for the lesson about writing for today. I return this to the host. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Miss Poppy, for the amazing materials today. So next, I'll open the question and answer session. For those, all of you guys who want to ask questions about materials, about IELTS, especially about writing today, you may raise your hand or directly unmute yourself. Okay, is there any question? Okay, Miss. So maybe from me first, Miss. So about the requirement about like we have to write 100 word or 200 word. Is it like very important to us? Apakah kita kalau misalnya kita nulis kayak kurang dari 100 kata atau di atas 100 kata itu akan berdampak ke kita, ke nilai kita ya, Miss? Seperti itu, Miss. Terima kasih, Miss.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Of course, it will have effect on your score. Tentu aja dia bakal berpengaruh ke skor kalian. Jadi kalau misalnya semakin sedikit kata-kata yang kalian tulis, semakin turun nilainya. Gitu. But the person who knows how much score will be reduced, itu adalah examinernya, yaitu orang yang memang sudah terlatih untuk menguji IELTS. So I don't know how, like misalnya kalau kurang 50 kata, kurang setengah poin. Ya itu saya nggak tahu, karena I'm not trained to be examiner, just as a tutor. Itu. The point is, yes, it will affect your score. So always make sure that you have to write for task 1 more than 150 words, for task 2 more than 250 words. Okay.
Okay, Miss. Thank you so much for the answer. And maybe the other have the question. Please just unmute yourself directly. Maybe we will wait like until 3 minutes for the question, yeah, Miss.
Okay, nice.
So anyone that have any questions about the materials may just unmute yourself or just write your questions on the chat box. Thank you. Okay, Miss, since I think that looks like everyone didn't have any questions. So maybe that's all for today. And I would like to remind you, all of you guys, to fill the attendance list of our third meeting ELC in the link that I write in the chat box. Okay, so that is our class today. Again, I would like to say thank you so much for Miss Poppy for the materials and explanation. And thank you for all of the member of English Learning Club that already attending our meeting today. That's all for today. Good evening, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You all may leave the meeting. Thank you, Miss
Waalaikumsalam.
Poppy.
Thank you.